Freak Nation, he's back. We had him in here, I believe, when he was first 16 years old, maybe. But yeah, Connor Zilisch is on a freaking tear in the Xfinity Series. 9 race wins for the year, 4 in a row, including Saturday night at Worldwide Technology Raceway. You want domination? Well, this dude deserved his burn down on the front stretch after that race win on Saturday night. You know, Crash and I are married. We have an 11-year-old daughter, and I'm somewhat the antithesis of my father. My father wasn't a grinder, wasn't an asshole, but you could hear him from the stands in soccer and football. No, yelling at this. So I'm the antithesis of that with my daughter. She's in goal, taking shots to the face and all of this. I'm very positive for her. I can be critical, but in the right times. And it sounds like that's what you've got throughout the years. You didn't have the a-hole parents up in the stands or in the pits going, listen, asshole, you should have had a top 5, not a top 7. Am I picking up what you're putting down there?
Yeah, 100%. And my dad's been, with me almost every racetrack I've gone to, and he told me this year he was going to come to 10 or 15 races, and he's been at all but one. So I think that tells you a lot about him. And I remember there were times as a kid where he was, yelling at me and telling me I suck, but there was times that I did suck, so I deserved it. But more times than not, he was just super supportive, and he tried to teach me for as long as he could, and eventually got to a point where I told him, Dad, I think I know more than you at this point, and
That's the worst.
I know.
Man.
He stopped giving me advice, probably 5 years ago. So, I remember when I was a kid, he used to be on the go-kart track and giving me signals, trying to tell me what to do from the grandstands. And it's funny. He's super involved in my life still, and I hope that we can keep that for a while.
Connor, I'm a big numbers guy. 14 straight top 5s. 7 wins in your last 8 starts, 8 wins in your last 11 starts, and a 1.9 average finish in that span. Those numbers, that stat line, it harkens back to the prime Jimmy Johnson days, the prime Kyle Busch days. I know you weren't even like 5 years old during that time period, but for instance, even right now, Alex Blow in 2025. Can you just appreciate what you're doing right now, and what does it mean to be associated with names like Kyle Busch and Jimmy Johnson?
Yeah, it's really cool, and I try not to look too much into it because I don't want to compare myself to Kyle Busch and Jimmy Johnson. I'm still just a 19-year-old who hasn't even made a full season in the Cup Series yet, or a full season in Xfinity yet, let alone. And although those are the guys that I look up to and want to be like, and I envy them and what they've done in this sport. I just want to be myself and focus on what I'm doing each and every week. And it's cool to be related to them, but I got a long way to go to get to where Kyle Busch and Jimmy Johnson are.
And finally, one thing I've noticed about you, and I love so much, even more than your talent, is how much fun you have inside the race car, outside the race car. I was on pit road today. You're high-fiving team members, fans, and even sliding off the roof of the car. Like, just how much fun are you having right now, and how important is that for you, and how much does that aid in your success as a driver?
It's a lot of it, honestly. Having that just positive mindset, and your team feeds off of it, and if you show up to the track every week and you're miserable, and you are result driven, it can be very tough on everybody, and that's one thing that I've learned and tried to focus on, is to just try and be as just positive as I can, and people feed off of that, and they love it, and I've learned that from a lot of people around me, and I've seen people and have been around people who are like that, and it just it helps everybody. It raises all boats, and I'm also a 19-year-old racing NASCAR. Like, how can you not be having fun?
Absolutely.
We'll end it with this, man. We've had an argument. Not an argument. It's just me just being the freaking old dude here. And you jumping into Cup kind of scares me. It just does, because what you're doing is bananas, and anything you jump in. And I don't know. I don't know, like Jimmy and your whole team. They know you much better than I do, especially in a race car. Are you ready for that jump? Because you're crushing it here, but that's Ross Chastain. That's Kyle Busch. That's Kyle Larson. That's Blaney. Are you ready for that?
I don't think you're ever ready to make that jump to the Cup Series. Like it's kind of just one of those things where you got to know that when you go into it, it's gonna be a struggle, and you're gonna have a lot of weeks where it's not fun, and it's just something you have to accept going into it.
But you're used to winning.
I know.
All the time. You're used to kicking ass.
It's gonna be tough for sure. I'm not gonna win. I'm not gonna win. I hope I win, but I'm not gonna win starting out, and it's gonna be a learning process, and I'm just going to have to try and stay as positive as possible and just try and get better each and every week like I have this year. I started out the year this year and I was good, but I wasn't anywhere like I've been in the last, 2 or 3 months. So, if I can just get better every week and learn and grow as a driver and a person, then I think I'll be pretty satisfied.
Have you caught a buzz yet?
Man,
off of the champagne that's being poured.
I have not. No, I got another about year and a half until I can. So Jimmy would yell at me if I did, and he's keeping me straight.
Brother, every time you come in, I know this won't be the last time, but it's fantastic. And I think I said this last week where you were kind of like our indie band, where we've had Connor early, when he was TA2, and as Connor's breaking out, we're going, no, you don't know my little indie band. We saw him first, man. We saw him in the small clubs. Yeah. And now you're blowing up. So we've just got to force ourselves to appreciate what you're doing, that we're witnessing greatness, man.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.